broadcast are some of the placements that you all.
Welcome back to Zero Ambiguity, where we give you the news without any ambiguity. Well, they did it again. You know, I used to work with a gentleman at work, and he used to always say stuff like, they won't let us do this. They won't let us go over here. They won't let us open up a business. And I was like, who are the they that he was talking about? And of course, he was referring to Caucasian people that live here in America. White people. They won't let us do this. And I thought to myself, how silly he sounds. You mean to tell me that a white person is responsible for when you get up in the morning and what food you eat, where you invest your money in, what are you studying, how hard you work, if you show up to work on time? You mean to tell me they're responsible for stuff like that? You mean to tell me that 3 white men in corporate America on the 25th floor of a corporate building is controlling 32 million African Americans? This man thought that way. He gave them too much power. He didn't understand that he had the power. I mean, after all, we created the pyramids and built the pyramids. And anyway, after 3 days of listening to this guy saying, they won't do this, they won't let you do this, they won't let you do that, I opted out of that conversation and decided not to listen to this guy. I realized he doesn't understand that he's responsible for a lot of his actions, but he wouldn't believe me. Anyway, the Supreme Court, have overturned the 1965 voters' right legislation. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really taken aback by that. I mean, I was expecting it to happen, but it still hurt. It made me think, pre-1965, we shall overcome. So we used to sing that in school when I was in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So what does this mean? The Civil Rights Voting Act of 1965 has been reversed. And all over social media, everyone was saying, oh, we can't vote anymore. It's over with, we can't vote. They've taken away our right to vote. And then I was like, is that true? I mean, if they really took away our right to vote, I mean, there would be riots and crowds in the street throwing bricks through people's buildings and stores. So maybe I'm missing something. And so I actually went and read the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to educate myself. Because I do not like to just take other people's words for things. You know, rumors, they spread real quick. Sometimes people can be ill-informed. And I realized this thing is about gerrymandering. It's about trying to carve out a section of a town or a section of a state so that certain people can have the advantage over the others. Usually based off of race, the color of someone's skin, the very thing that we fight against. You know, do I want to see people in Congress and in the Senate that looks like me? Absolutely. It encourages me when I see other people that look like me in positions of power and authority. But even more important, it encouraged me to see people who actually believe in the same things that I believe in, regardless of how they look in those positions of power and authority too. Because you can look like me, but be jacking somebody on the CTA train right now, and just because you look like me, I don't think like you, and hey, with you and I'm sorry, I'm not down with that. You get what I'm saying? I don't just follow everybody and go along with everyone because they look like me. If you think like me and morally do the same things I'm doing, then I can click with you. I don't care who you are. Unfortunately, there's a lot of us who believe that the political capital, that there's a political messiah somehow waiting in the brush of Congress and the Senate to save and rescue us. I mean, we've been waiting for this political savior to come along for almost 50 years. And our neighborhoods are in shambles, most of them. They look the same way they looked in 1965, 1975, 1985, 2005, and 2025 and 2026. I don't know. I've given up on political capital. I observed this group of people that came to America 25, 35, 40, 50 years ago. And this is a group of people that came to America and they weren't physically as strong as some African Americans and European people. So they couldn't do some of the jobs like construction and, being a plumber and stuff like that. So what they did was they put their head down and they opened up laundry facilities all over the United States of America. Laundry facilities and dry cleaners. And they did our laundry. And they put their heads down and they kept collecting the money. And they enforced in their children the value of education. And they told their children, it's not good enough for you to just get a B. You must get an A and an A+. And their children were probably frustrated by this mentality because they saw everybody else having fun and there was a balance. They were in practicing Beethoven and all kinds of orchestra and symphony stuff, Bach, while we were out playing. They were saving their money while we were spending our money. And their children, when they graduated high school, graduated with 4.0 GPAs, 3.5 GPAs. And they went to colleges like Harvard, Cambridge, Yale, Oxford, University of Chicago, Northwestern University. And when they graduated from those universities, recruiters from companies like Google, Amazon, Apple were waiting for them, offering them huge employment packages. Some of them were even given stock options in those companies. And these kids that once had their heads down so that nobody noticed them, now everybody's noticing them because they're becoming millionaires and affluent. And when you go to their neighborhoods, man, their homes are immaculate. Their neighborhoods are beautiful. And they don't have any representation in Congress. They have 0.1% representation in Congress, in the Senate, and they've never had an Asian president lifting them up out of the ashes. I think we need to look at this model. We need to ditch the political capital model and focus more on the economic capital. We need to gain that, and educational capital. We need those two. I think those two are more important, are keys. Because at this point, it looks like politics have failed us. And when I was in school, I had a science teacher that told me that the definition of insanity, Paul, is continuing on the same path, doing the same things, yet expecting a different result. And I knew what he meant. He was trying to shake me up and get me to understand that I wasn't going to go from a C to an A doing the same things that I was doing in class and at home. And I went home from that conference and I changed some things and got a tutorer and studied a little bit harder and began to get A's and B's. Yet, us African Americans, we seem to have short-term memory, or we seem to not be able to see it clearly after 25, 35, 45, 50 years of our communities being in shambles, and we're waiting for a black messiah in politics to wave some kind of magical wand and get us out of the drudges of life. Is insane. But I'm telling you, we do have control over our time. We do have control of what we do with our finances. We do have control over what we eat. We have control over what we think and what we say. We have control. We're no different than those Asians, and we're no different than the Caucasian people. We're no different. We just choose to do different things for whatever reasons. But it's time for us to stop thinking the way we thought and think a new way. I'll be right back after this break. All right, welcome back to Zero Ambiguity, where we give you the news without any bias or ambiguity. A prophet said that the United States was going to go to war with Iran before it happened. I mean, I found this guy on the Diary of a CEO on a podcast, and a lot of the things that he said and he was talking about have come to pass. They're so true. This is a prophet professor. I mean, I'm not sure he's a prophet, but I'm saying the things that he said, they were so accurate. And I know a lot of prophets, a lot of times they're speaking in nebulous terms like, the Lord is going to bless you, or this bad thing is getting ready to happen, but they're not going to tell you exactly what it really is. But this person is giving specifics of what is going to happen in the United States of America. He predicted the Civil War. He predicted the Iran-American conflict. I mean, this guy is, well, just watch this real quick and tell me what you think.
That it's quite confusing for an ordinary person like me, and you've blown up across the internet because you've been able to demystify all of this craziness, but also because in 2024 you made 3 predictions that have come perfectly true. Some might say unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes.
What were those 3 predictions?
My first prediction was that Trump would win in November 2024. Second prediction is that he would start a war against Iran. And the third prediction is that the United States would lose this war. And in losing this war, this would radically reshape the geopolitical landscape. I believe they are Russian tankers.
Yes, the United States has indeed been seizing tankers linked to Russia. A major escalation occurred earlier this year on January the 7th, 2026, when the US military and Coast Guard intercepted 2 sanctioned Shadow Fleet oil tankers. While one was seized directly in the Caribbean, the other involved a dramatic chase that started in the Caribbean and ended in the North Atlantic. US forces captured this sanctioned tanker during a pre-dawn raid directly in the Caribbean Sea. The US military described it as stateless sanctioned dark fleet vessel, which was engaged in illicit activities. These seizures are part of Operation Southern Spear, a strict enforcement of the US embargo on Venezuelan oil exports. Both vessels were targeted for violating US sanctions by transporting illicit crude oil linked to Venezuela, as well as Iran and Hezbollah.
And as you point out, this is an act of war.
So those were ships that didn't have a country linked to them directly.
That's why they're called Shadow Fleet tankers.
Okay.
Yes. But they're essentially Russian.
But they were essentially shipping oil outside of the United States that the United States wouldn't control. Is that kind of...
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
the US said, listen, this is our oil, get lost.
That is correct, yes. Right? So what the United States is doing is slowly expanding its global reach. And the way it's doing that is by signing treaties with nations that are part of these choke points. So the Strait of Malacca, recently the United States has signed a military cooperation agreement with Indonesia. And with the Strait of Gibraltar, the Americans have signed an agreement now with Morocco, right? So they're looking for the legal framework and justification to control the world's choke points, which would bring them directly in conflict with the Russian shadow.
You've made a series of new predictions. You've made 8 new predictions.
Okay.
And I have them in this box here.
Okay.
I'll let you reveal what those predictions are.
Okay. This is one prediction. Okay. Okay. So this is the most controversial prediction. Okay. I predict that there will be a U.S. Civil War and Trump will get a 3rd term.
You think Trump will get a 3rd term? Isn't that constitutionally illegal?
There are things that are unconventional and immoral and wrong and evil and dangerous. And there are certain things that are illegal. Trump getting a 3rd term is not illegal. So let me explain the loophole What Trump could do is this, okay? There are two possibilities. The first possibility is in 2028, he has his son, Don Jr., run as a president, and he runs as the vice president. And then when Don Jr. wins, if he wins, then Don Jr. could abdicate and Trump would be the president. And in the Constitution, if you read the Constitution very carefully, it doesn't actually prohibit people from doing that. It's not been done in the past. And like no sane person with any morality would do this. But that doesn't stop Trump from doing this, okay? That's one possibility. Another possibility is that by 2028, America is at war with everyone. There's a national draft. The president now has emergency war powers. And so he can actually suspend the Constitution and delay the election, which is what Zelensky did in Ukraine.
Hey, listen. I know you guys say, well, you are a Trump supporter. Why are you bashing the president now? Don't back out now. Listen, I am not a Trump supporter and I am not a Trump basher. I'm a person that likes things to be true. I'm a person that's looking for the truth, and I'm going to back up things that are true, and I'm going to refute things that are false. And it doesn't look like that this particular war was well thought out. It just doesn't look like it right now. I could be wrong in a few weeks. In a few weeks from now, it could be a whole different story. But right now, with gas prices being $4.30, $5.30, $6.30, and it's going up like the stock market, I don't know. This is well thought out. And this guy, this professor, it seemed like he took the time to research some things and say, okay, yeah, if we do this, then this will happen. Well, I'm praying for you, President Trump. I am praying for the military. I'm praying for everybody here in America because I want to see us succeed. I don't want to see people destroyed, lives destroyed. I want to see this country preserved because I live here. Doggone it. Why do so many people want to see this place destroyed and you live here? I mean, it's like you wanting to see your house burned down that you live in. Where are you going to live after the house burns down? Are you going to go to your cousin's house? You're going to go, make it make sense. Yeah, I'm praying for the president and I'm praying for this nation. And I'm praying that we don't destroy each other because clearly that professor is right. A civil war is looming in this country. I've never seen so many people so hostile against each other over politics, and you know, it's crazy. We're Americans and we all want the same thing. We want our nation to prosper, even though I think that there are some people who don't want the nation to prosper. They want it to fail. I don't get it. Like I said, you live here. But I'm praying. I'm praying that all the wicked things that evil people want to happen to this country don't happen. But I understand that God has a master plan that's way above my thinking. I understand it. I mean, there are other bigger things that God is going to bring into manifestation. And it may mean that he may have to allow these things to happen so that something else greater can happen. All right, I'll be back after this break. Okay, a man in New York City threatens a man on a train because the guy just simply asked him to turn down his music on the train. Watch this.
Gotta be fucking kidding me, boy. This motherfucker got his fucking headphones on. He told me to put my speaker down. And he got his motherfucking headphones on. You out your fucking mind, my man. I wanna fucking cut you. So shut your fucking mouth then. Mind your fucking business, you fucking bitch. Why you had to jump out there? You got fucking headphones on, you fucking bitch. What, you think I was a fucking punk or something? Yeah, that's the best thing you better do, nigga. Move, you bitch ass motherfucker. Yeah. That's what you gotta do. That's what you better do. Yeah. You don't want no drama with me, motherfucker. I'll cut your fucking face open. Are you fucking serious? You gonna tell me to fucking put my speaker down? And you got fucking headphones on? I'll fucking cut your fucking face, faggot. You know I'm fucking right, miss. Yeah, so what the fuck you got? Mind your business then. So mind your business then. Mind your business then. Mind your business then. Call the cops then. Call the cops, stupid bitch. Fuck you. Fuck you. Suck my dick. Whoever want me, let me know. I'm ready. Fuck you.
No crime was technically committed here. Nobody got stabbed. Nobody got robbed. Nobody got assaulted. So statistically, this incident probably means nothing. But this right here is exactly why people feel unsafe on the subways and buses. A passenger being aggressively cursed out, a belligerent person acting like they ready to explode, and the passenger feeling so uncomfortable they had to move. That affects people psychologically because statistics don't mean nothing when situations happen like this. And when riders constantly see aggression, chaos, hostility, the brain keeps prepping for violence even if no one gets touched. That's the part these crime numbers never show you. The tension, the anxiety, the feeling that something could go left at any second. You can lower crime stats all day long, but if passengers still feel unsafe, then the system still has a serious problem.
I mean, you're not supposed to be playing music loud on the. You're not even supposed to be playing music at all on the train. But the fact that the guys went from 1 to 10 and is ready to unalive him and the lady that he was with over a radio, they could have just turned down and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you." This is crazy. This is where our society has gotten right now. Violence. It's almost like we think that violence, and if I can intimidate you, then I'm right because I made you shut up, I made you bow down. And be honest with you, some people will just be quiet because of emotional intelligence. It's not because they're scared of you. They need to get to work, make their money, and go home and pay their taxes and bills and stuff like that. They're not. It's not that they're afraid of you. I mean, who wants to be in an altercation with you? Messing up my day. My day was going good. I'm drinking coffee, and all of a sudden, boom! I run into you, and you think because I don't want to have an altercation with you that somehow I'm weak. No, I got a family, a wife, children, things to do, investments to make. And right now, you could be interrupting this, but you know what? You're not interrupting it. I'm just going to move to the other side of the train. That's what that guy did. And then the guy followed him to the other side of the train because that's what he's looking for. He's looking to exert his dominance over that person. He thinks that that person is weak because he didn't stand his ground. And unfortunately, probably a police officer is going to have to come and stand his ground and, throw him off the train. Thank God in Chicago, Mayor Brandon is doing the right thing and putting police officers on the train at night between 10 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning. And from the looks of it, it looks like they're doing their job and throwing disruptive people off the trains at night, making the trains safe again. I hope this isn't a temporary pilot program where they're going to just do for a few months and then the crime calms down and then they remove the police officers from the train and then it goes back to being violent again. I hope we keep this for a long time. So I used to ride those trains and I know how violent it can get. So the police officers out there and all the citizens out there that are putting up with this, keep up the good work. Keep the faith. All right, this is all I got for you today on Zero Ambiguity. Until the next time, you guys have a fantastic week. God bless you. See you. Bye.